Dirty dealings, corporate battles, consumer woes. This is Evening 5. Economists have revised upward their forecasts for Malaysia's gross domestic product or GDP growth in 2024, driven by robust domestic spending and investment activity. This follows the stronger than expected economic performance recorded in the second quarter of this year. BMI, a unit of the Fitch Group, raised its GDP growth forecast to 4.7% from 4.4%, while MIDF Research hiked its forecast to 5%, up from the previous estimate of 4.7%. BMI said its revision corresponds to the 5.9% year-on-year growth in the second quarter of 2024, the fastest pace in 6 quarters, beating its 5.4% forecast and consensus expectations of 5.8%. In a separate note, MIDF said it expects growth to be supported by the positive outlook for domestic spending, amid more encouraging domestic economic conditions. Consumer spending is expected to receive a boost from government cash aid and EPF Account 3 withdrawals, which will help mitigate the potential inflationary effects of subsidy rationalisation and other policy changes. Meanwhile, Public Investment Bank expects sustained growth in the coming quarters, fueled by higher fixed capital investments, the advancement of large-scale projects, rising demand for data centres, as well as strong tourism activity. It also noted the export sector is poised for further gains due to the global tech upcycle and higher tourist arrivals and spending. Official data released today show Malaysia's exports surged 12.3% in July, the fastest pace in nearly 2 years. BIMB Securities, meanwhile, foresees a 0.6% increase in GDP, thanks to a new public service compensation scheme that will raise salaries for 1.6 million civil servants. Announced last Friday, the policy will be implemented over 2 phases on December 1st, 2024 and January 1st, 2026. The FBM KLCI hits a new 52-week high, propelled by strong gains in banking stocks as investors racked up shares in index heavyweights while awaiting earnings announcements in the next 2 weeks. The benchmark index hit an intraday high of 1,653.35 before paring some gains to settle at 1,648.7. Arica Capital CEO Danny Wong Teck Meng told The Edge investors are likely betting that the stronger than expected GDP growth in the second quarter would translate into better showings for banks as the proxy to economic growth. He said with better growth, banks should perform better too in areas like fee income and loan growth. The Bursa Malaysia Financial Services Index, heavily weighted towards lenders, touched new record high levels today. It hit an intraday high of 19,169.01 before closing at 19,107.54, still up 687.82 points or 3.73%. All 10 listed banks gained today. The rally lifted market capitalizations of Malaysia's top 2 banks in terms of assets to record highs. Maybank ended trading at 10 ringgit 60 sen, valuing it at 127.9 billion ringgit, and CIMB Group Holdings' shares jumped to 7 ringgit 97 apiece, for a market capitalization of 85.28 billion ringgit. The government has set ambitious targets under the Bumiputera Economic Transformation Plan 2035 or Putra 35, aiming to significantly increase Bumiputera representation in high-skilled jobs and equity ownership over the next decade. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim, who launched the blueprint earlier this afternoon, outlined the government's goal to boost Bumiputera participation in high-skilled jobs from 61% in 2022 to 70% by 2035. The plan also seeks to raise Bumiputera equity ownership, both by individuals and through Bumiputera mandated agencies, from 18.4% in 2020 to 30% by 2035. These targets are central to the government's broader strategy of fostering more meaningful economic participation, ownership and control by the Bumiputera community, positioning them to better navigate the country's evolving economic landscape without marginalising Malaysians of other ethnicities. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli, who was present at the launch, said Bumiputera ownership in public listed companies stood at just 7% as of 2022, representing 62 companies out of the 945 listed on Bursa Malaysia. In terms of labour participation, the number of unemployed Bumiputeras totaled 387,800, or 61.5% of the national total as of 2022. Notably, 70.8% of unemployed Bumiputeras are from the youth demographic, aged between 15 and 30 years. IJM Corp has secured 2 contracts with a combined value of 561 million ringgit for the construction of data centres in Johor and an industrial manufacturing facility in Penang. In a statement, IJM Corp said the 508 million ringgit job to build 2 data centre buildings in Gelang Patah was awarded by an international data centre developer whose name was not disclosed. The first building is scheduled for completion in the 3rd quarter of next year, while the second is expected to be completed in the 1st quarter of 2026. The project was secured through a 50-50 joint venture between IJM Construction and War Hub Malaysia, which means IJM Corp's share of the contract is valued at 254 million ringgit. As for the Penang job, IJM Construction independently secured a 307 million ringgit contract to construct a new electrical and electronics manufacturing and warehousing facility in Batu Kawan. The 560,000 square foot facility, located on an 8.09 hectare plot within the Bandar Kasia Technology Park, is for a US-based company. Construction of the facility is set to begin this month, with completion expected by October 2025. The 2 contracts have increased IJM Construction's secured jobs year-to-date to 1.9 billion ringgit, including the 6 billion ringgit outstanding order book as of March 31st. The group's total order book now stands at 7.9 billion ringgit. Sarawak-based Sunmow Holdings said its joint venture company has secured a 1.02 billion ringgit road construction contract. According to its board's filing, the contract is for Package 4B, spanning Bukit Pagon to Long Lupeng under the 2nd phase of the Sarawak-Sabah Link Road project. The Leap Market-listed firm has a 70% stake in the JV, while Kemena Holding owns the remaining 30%. Sunmow said the JV company has 48 months to complete the contract and has to provide defects liability cover for 24 months from the date of actual practical completion. The value of the subcontract is more than 4 times Sunmow's current market value of about 232.8 million ringgit. The project will be funded by internally generated funds. The construction company is controlled by its single largest shareholder and executive chairman, Kong Cheong Mew. His brother, Kong Cheong Ng, who is also the MD of the group, holds a 28.8% stake in Sunmow. Kemena, also based in Sarawak, is a general contractor which engages in sales of premix and is linked to Pauline Vun Paulin and Hee To Ing alias Hee To Young.